Welcome back, Rankers. Happy New Year. Did you have a good break? We did. And we're back. And 2014 is going to be massive. In case you missed it, on the 20th of December last year, I did a little extra show, which I said I wasn't going to do, but I did, on this thing, this life-sized Lego car powered by air. You may have seen it over the break. Now, it's part of a project that Steve Sammartino and Raul Wada from Romania put together, and along with about 39 other people. I was one of the investors, and I also helped out on some of the bits and pieces with Google Webmaster Tools, Google Analytics, that sort of stuff. But I did a little show before we went away about, I think it got up to about 1.5 million views in the first couple of days, something like that. I can't even remember. Anyway, at the moment, it's at 3.85 million views, which is pretty good. It's not even a month yet. If you have, I wanted to show you a couple of things that it's illustrated for me, though. If we have a look at the demographics here, you can see there's 192 countries have been just to the website, and this is the website data, not the YouTube data. So most of the traffic went to the YouTube channel because the video was embedded by a lot of other sites, as you would imagine, which is fine because we drove traffic to the YouTube channel. And one of the things that was quite stark, though, is that, I did a little bit of SEO on the site after the fact. The reason for that is that it was such a rush to get everything done and get the whole site live just in time to do a sort of a pre-Christmas launch on the thing. We didn't have any SEO on the site, pretty much. And right now, there's still not a lot of SEO. So you might be saying to me, well, Jim, why would I do SEO? Why wouldn't I just build a giant life-size Lego car powered by air using 500,000 Lego pieces? Well, if you can do it, do it. That's great. It's great publicity. Do it. If you can't do that, and I know I can't, then there's a couple of things in this project that have stood out. So, for instance, when we launched, and I monitored some of the keywords that we're monitoring were Lego car, life-size Lego car, life-size Lego car powered by air, and we're monitoring out of the US and also Australia. So you can see here, this is sort of the launch date here. Actually, that's post-launch date. So, but you can see here, 3 or 4 days after launch, we were number 30 in Australia for life-size Lego car, which is ridiculous because we're the only life-size Lego car. So what is Google up to? Why doesn't Google rank this site? Why doesn't Google say, hey, this is the premier site that has to do with life-size Lego car? So who were all these sites above us if we were number 30? Well, they were all the press and the media sites because they were all talking about a life-size Lego car. We weren't. We were talking about a Lego car, we were talking about a super awesome micro project, and at the time we weren't trying to rank for that phrase. Around about here, I just did a couple of little bits and pieces of SEO, and you can see here it jumped up quite significantly. Now, when you go and have a look at the backlinks for this site, it is quite an extraordinary growth of backlinks. So this is Majestic SEO I'm using, and I've just dropped Super Awesome Micro Project in here. And you can see it's now got 5,500 backlinks, 921 different domains. And you can see here, look at this graph. This has told me one thing, that, hey, Majestic SEO actually works quite well because this is pretty much when the backlinks started to come in, and then you can see that they've dropped off here. So Majestic SEO, confirmed, great tool. And referring IPs, we've got 702 referring IPs, lots of different subnets. And, it got backlinks from CNN, BBC, Mashable, Gizmodo, a whole range of sites. And the traffic to the site was extraordinary. It got 170,000 page views in a very short space of time. However, there was no SEO on the site. And when I say no SEO, I mean no SEO. It didn't even have page titles that made terribly much sense. And, that was mainly, I blame me, because we just didn't have time. And we knew straight up that it really didn't. That's not where the major traffic was going to come from in the short term. It was going to come from referring sites, which was because of the size of the project, how cool it was, all those sorts of things. It was always going to just get shared via social, via news media, and all these other places. But what happened was, as soon as I put a page title, something as simple as a page title, in the homepage that said life-size Lego car, bang, up it came, and it came up around here. And you can see them all. They've all jumped around the same time with just a little simple thing as a page title. Now, the phrase life-size Lego car still doesn't appear on the site anywhere. And there's only about 5 pages to the entire site. So the only place that we've got life-size Lego car is actually in 2 page titles. That is it. And from that little bit, because of all the backlink juice it already had from all these other sites, it then jumped up. So my point here is, you can get all the backlinks you want. You can get some sense, and you know, you're not going to get better backlinks than what this site has in that space of time. But it's not going to get you to number 1 unless you've got SEO on the page right. Now, take that into your own business. Have a think about the backlinks you've already got. You'll have some. Have a think about the backlinks that your competitors have got. Use Majestic SEO to check that out. If you then go and work on your own site and get the SEO right on your own site, you're going to see jumps like this. And we're talking in the US. Let's see, life-size Lego car in the US, it got as high as number 5. Who are the sites still above it? Well, it's interesting. If I Google life-size Lego car in Australia right now, you can see here we've got a video, the original video, which is what we wanted. Okay, so that's great. That's where we're driving traffic, and you can see here that the actual title of the video was optimized for life-size Lego car powered by air. That's what we decided. So we went heavier on the SEO, if you like, on the video than what we did on the actual website. So we're number 1 for that. So that's great. So we're getting all that traffic. The number 2 is a story by CNN. The number 3 is a web page from the ABC. And you see here we've got one from News and News. Now, interestingly, this one here, and then we're here. This page here, they don't link to the main site, which is superawesomemicroproject.com. So they're not giving any love to the actual main site. They're actually linking to one of their other sites where they've got the video. Similarly, if I go and have a look at the ABC site, or the ABC webpage, you can see here they've got the video embedded, not the YouTube one incidentally. But once again, they're not linking to superawesomemicroproject.com either. And they're the ABC. So the point here is that if you're getting people talking about you, ask for a backlink. And forget about anchor text. You don't need anchor text or any of those sorts of things. You just need them to link to you if they're talking about you, which isn't, unreasonable, I wouldn't have thought. But anyway, these guys didn't do it. I don't know why. I wasn't involved in talking to any of these journos. I was just involved in looking at the stats, which were awesome. So this was a great way to get backlinks, right? But take it back. Who are the people that you want to get a backlink from? And as Google says, or Matt Cutt says, try to get a backlink for traffic, which is what all these backlinks were. And zero in on those people and give them a story that they can link to. And if you want to go and have a listen to another way to get press and media, which is essentially backlinks anyway, go and have a listen to the latest beerblokesbusiness.com episode 22, Getting Press, fresh out this week. And have a listen to that. Some really good ideas. And you've got Trevor Young in this week's episode talking about getting press and getting PR and those sorts of things. But this, to me, is so stark. It's just so obvious that unless you get your SEO right, forget about all the backlinks. You've got to get your on-page right. Now, could we go to number one for Lego car in Australia? Yeah, probably, but what's the point? The time has passed. We've got 3.8 million views. That's okay. We're happy with that. What you will see here, though, in the more competitive markets, like the US and to Australia to some extent here, but this life-size Lego car powered by air, which is pretty much a long-tail phrase, right, which we should rank number one for. We got as high as number 6 in the US, and now we're dropping like a stone. We're now number 13. The reason for that is all of those backlinks that we got, those, however, 1,000, what was it, 5,000 or something? 5,000? Yeah, 5,000 backlinks. A lot of them initially were on the front page of all those media sites and all those forums and all those sorts of things. They've now been relegated to internal pages. So the backlink that we're getting now isn't as strong as it was a couple of weeks ago. So as time goes on, the value of those backlinks drops off. If we wanted to get ranked higher for these sorts of things in the US, all we'd really have to do is start adding a bunch of content on the site talking about those things again. And it would come back up. And those backlinks would stay, Google would know, but we'd still be the authority on that topic. But because the site's only got 5 pages and we're not adding to it anymore, it's going to keep dropping away for those highly competitive phrases, which you can imagine, Lego car is a highly competitive phrase. Hopefully that's helpful, and hopefully we'll see you next week, and we'll talk about a few other things that happened over the break next week, a couple of penalties that were issued by Google, and I think we're going to see some big changes in Google, some algorithm updates quite soon, and we'll see you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.